This is another one of those videos involving something I don't think a lot of people realize exists, or maybe they do, but they never really mentioned it or cared about it or really looked into it all. But I think it's a little interesting and something worth considering. Most people know the differences between a grave and a sarcophagus, and that sarcophagus is just a little nicer. There's art associated with it. It's just a little cooler in that regard, and it used to give a colonist mood lift boost for being buried inside of a sarcophagus. It would be like +4 for the whole colony. I don't know if it still does that. I tried it. It didn't seem to, and I don't think graves ever did. Maybe they both did. I'm not really sure, but it doesn't matter. A standard grave inside of a room is nothing. It's still just a room. But a sarcophagus inside a room becomes a tomb. And this is unique because the tomb has a certain hidden stat to it. It claims that there's no stats associated with the tomb that matter. It's all grayed out, but the impressiveness actually makes a pretty big deal as far as the joy gained. There's a line of code inside of the room stat defs for the grave visiting joy gain factor. And it claims to be hidden, and it just deals with the impressiveness of a room and how much joy you get for visiting a grave when you're using that tomb based on its impressiveness. So I have here a dull tomb, a slightly impressive tomb, and then the best you can have, a wondrously impressive tomb, just to sort of compare and contrast the differences between these. And I've also got some outside as like just little, you know, there's no room associated with this one, and these are just a grave inside, grave outside. Spoiler alert, it has to be inside of a room. All of these are the same. And we will resume here. Everybody uses joy at the same time. Everybody, I should have showed you a little bit ago, but everybody was the exact same recreation. I had them all locked into a room. None of them were bored with any of the joys at all whatsoever. Everybody was at 0. You can sort of take my word for it now at this point. But you can see already, it's only been a little bit of time, and Allah here is already at 4.8% recreation, whereas everybody else inside of standard things, just under 2%. Atkins, just over 2. Chapman at 2. The people outside, 1.9%. And as we resume time a little bit, somebody throws a party because the entire colony is bored to tears. At 71-ish recreation, you can see solitary relaxation here, which is associated with visiting the graves, is already almost at 50%, where it starts to become a little boring for them. But the recreation already is at 71%, whereas everybody else, 33%. 33%, this is also 33%. Chapman will be a little higher at 35%, not much though, barely a difference. And Atkins at 37%. We continue time a little bit more. And by the time you get basically completely full of joy, you all want to go to the party now. Everybody started at the same time though, thankfully. 94%, almost full, officially bored with it though. Whereas everybody else, just around halfway. So basically, twice as much joy using a wondrously impressive, I know, it's wondrously impressive. It's nothing that you would often really get, but the fact remains, it does matter a little bit the room condition that the tomb is in, and it's something to consider mostly for the late game if you're really trying to min-max your time, you know, with like really awesome plasteel double beds, and you're trying to get the press effectiveness as high as possible, and you're trying to minimize the amount of downtime that you have for the colonists, so it's mostly just work. For solitary, the really awesome tombs, it's something to go for. It can save you hours in the morning. If you like videos similar to this, just the little sort of hidden tips and tricks that some people may not realize, or even the sort of myth-busting things that I've been doing, like accuracy inside light and dark areas not really mattering, or alternative little defense things like the roof drop video and stuff like that. I've got a few more things planned, but I am running a little low on ideas. If you like this sort of thing and want to see more, please leave a comment. Let me know what you would like to see. I'm looking for ideas. I'm hurting. I've only got a couple ideas left, and it's interesting. I like doing stuff like this because a lot of people are new to the game because it hit 1.0 officially a bit ago, and there's a lot of new players who are still exploring, and it's nice to show off some of the advanced things that RimWorld's got, because it's a very deep game. It may not seem like it immediately on the surface, but it is surprisingly deep. There's a lot of little hidden things in it that people may not have noticed.